Hey guys, this is Tauna. Today we're doing a budget upgrade version for the Squirreled away. We set the budget at $50 for the upgrades and everything like that. I've gone into why I chose all the upgrades and a little bit about the Precon to start off with, and then what I have cut to. But make sure you guys subscribe, like the video, share it around if you guys love the content to get us some views and stuff. So first of all, the base Precon thought. So there's a lot of various different tokens in this deck, right? Everything from rats, squirrels, blood. Like I think the only token that's not included is like junk tokens. They've kind of gone added a lot of different tokens from all over the place. The aim is obviously with your face commander here is using those to get a lot of tokens out onto the board and then flood people with them with, you know, creature tokens and stuff. And then Hazel uses mana to play more cards because you can use the tokens that you've got out, etc. Kind of like, you know, have the tokens feed into more tokens, etc. Go really wide, lots of kind of squirrely cards. There's not as many squirrel cards as I would have liked. I think that it's not exactly it's kind of like a half squirrel tribal kind of thing. There's also a lot of if your creatures die, or, you know, when a token comes in or token goes away, deal damage to opponent, which I think is really good and fits the kind of create a lot of different tokens nature. So when I was doing the upgrades, I kind of did a number of different things here. First of all, I narrowed down the tokens we got. I primarily went after squirrel and food tokens because when you have a huge variety of tokens, you can make use of them with stuff like Hazel, but you can't kind of make a huge amount of use, in my opinion. Like, you know, unless you turn all those tokens into food, which one of the cards in the deck does, which is good, you know, you can't kind of narrow down and play some of the great cards that kind of synergize well with them. I also switched the commander to a more squirrel focused one because I wanted to make the deck more focused on squirrels. You know, it is, as I said, kind of like a half squirrel tribal at the moment, but this kind of expanded out, so there's a lot more squirrel tribal stuff. I wanted to create more value from those squirrel tokens and food tokens rather than them just coming in, but we do still have a little bit more burn stuff from that, and then make squirrels strong as well so that we can go a bit taller with our creatures and a bit taller with our squirrels. All right, so looking at the additions, the first one here was Camellia. I made her the face commander, right? It probably, again, sounds dumb. You guys may not agree with me, but I just think overall, I like her more as a commander for a squirrel deck, which is what we've turned this into, than Hazel. Hazel's great with, like, you know, if you've got lots of different tokens and stuff, but first of all, her kind of like her populate kind of thing, you're going to get potentially like another 2 squirrel 1/1 tokens out or something like that from it, but you know, you're not going to be able to go super dense with it, and it's not like a huge amount of squirrely stuff, while this here goes directly into giving us Squirrel's Menace, making it so that whenever we sack a food, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token, which we've got a lot of different stuff that can do stuff with this in, as well as make them go bigger by spending 2 and then foraging by sacrificing the foods. So it's very much a great food and squirrel commander. I don't know, maybe you guys disagree again. Like, do you guys agree with replacing the face commander of a deck? I think that this is just a much better option. All right, so as I said, we added in some more squirrels. So we got some Bushy Bodyguard, we got Thorn Vault Forager here, both ones that do stuff with forage, and because we've gone harder into actually having food in here, we can use the food for those. I didn't want to play too much into the graveyard side of stuff. I just wanted to mostly play into the forage, food, and the squirrels. And we can use Thornbolt Forager here for just search for a squirrel card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, right? Like, this is a squirrel searcher. All right, another couple squirrels. We've got Scurry Oak in here as well. It's going to create a lot of squirrels. We've got ways to be able to put +1/+1s onto things. So Scurry Oak will potentially grow pretty big, as well as being able to, you know, evolve. So when stuff comes in that's bigger, gets a +1/+1 too. Vine Reap is just a simple get a food, relatively cheap card. It's going to be an uncommon. So, you know, there's going to be a fair few of them out there. We've got Illusionist Braces to be able to double the effect from our commander. Whenever an ability of the equipped creature is activated, if it isn't a mana ability, copy that ability. So we're going to be able to put 2 +1/+1s out on stuff, or we can put it on other stuff, like we could put it on Hazel or something too, if we wanted to create, you know, double mana. It's not a bad idea. Valley Rockcaller, just to make use of the amount of squirrels that we've got. We're going to deal a lot of damage to the opponents and then gain a lot of life from it if we go wide with squirrels here. We've got Experimental, Confection, and Precon. And so both of these are great ways for us to be able to get foods. Experimental also gives us another way to, like, if we sack our foods, to create some rats, which we can do other things with. Well, it's not great for food, I guess, but it's an option for food. But the sacking foods to create rats is going to be decent. Precon makes it so that each of our squirrels that's coming in will then come in with an additional food, which is good. Witch's Oven's going to give us the option of creating food from our squirrel, so I hope you like cooked squirrel, because we're going to sack them, create some foods from it. And then this Pippin here as well is going to be give us another option for foods. So, you know, great ways to get foods, as well as give us a lot of buffs up, right? Like we can sack 4 foods, give all our creatures +3/+3 and haste. Mirkwood Bats in here is because it's a simple burn whenever we create any tokens. And then Yigra is where it all kind of comes together. So she is going to turn all of our creatures into food artifacts in addition to their other types. So they all become food. Whenever a food is put into a graveyard from a battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters onto her. So when we combine her with Camellia, all of our squirrels are now foods. Whenever we sack a food with Camellia, we create a squirrel. Then that squirrel is a food, so we can sack that, etc., etc. So you can create infinite loops here where we're just sacking squirrels. We get an infinitely big Yigra. We get, you know, a lot of death tokens. We get a lot of creating tokens, triggers like, you know, Mirkwood Bats can just burn everyone down. You know, Yigra is just going to kind of pull all this together to make like a great kind of foundation for all of our squirrel stuff to come together. But the rest of the deck works really well without her. So if she ends up being a more expensive card, then you can potentially skip out on her. You know, and to make sure that we have ways to be able to sack that, we've got Ashnons to be able to sack it. Rapacious Guest is in here because we can feed all the food into her, put +1/+1s onto her as well as onto Yigra, and then we get to create foods thanks to her as well. You know, lots of great ways that she's going to be able to make use of this. And then, you know, if she leaves the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to her power. So if you get her really buffed up, then we can, you know, sack her with Ashnons or something. But Ashnons also means that all of our squirrels that come in, we sack them for 2, and we can make use of all of those extra tokens and stuff. Like all of the tokens, we can sack them, we can get mana back from the squirrels that we're creating and do some great stuff with that. I also added in Toxic Deluge as a final kind of big board wipe, just in case. That's a better board wipe than I think they had in there. So as for the cuts, I cut 1 forest. It had 38 lands from memory, and I don't think we needed that many. Haywire Might and Wolf Willow Haven. I just didn't think that this was really worth it in the deck. Haywire Might is good, but I just kind of didn't think it was worth it compared to more squirrels. A lot of the stuff I cut was like, as I said, the stuff that creates tokens that is not squirrel tokens. So like, you know, Woe Strider or Plaguecrafter, I don't even know why that's in there. It just makes everyone sack something, I guess, because you can sack a squirrel, but other people can't. Arasta, Poison Tip Archer. So Arasta, because, you know, it has, like it's just creating spider tokens. Don't need them. We've got squirrels. Poison Tip Archer is a good option to, you know, have a defensive option as well as make other people lose life whenever creatures die. But I just liked Mirkwood more. Chattering Witch, Ogre Slumlord, cut all the rats. Skyfisher Spider, I didn't think it was relevant. Moldavine, it was too expensive compared to what other options we had, I think. Moonstone Eulogist was a new card that I cut, but it does blood tokens and stuff. I just didn't think it was great. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like a on the edge of, like, if we kind of didn't add, say, for example, Yigra in here, we could keep Moonstone Eulogist in there. It's whenever you sacrifice an artifact, so all our foods would count for it, but I don't know, I just wasn't a huge fan of it compared to the other big options that I added in. Wind's Grace Judgment, as I said, like I removed some of the like board wipey kind of stuff to add in other areas. Garrick, I don't think does enough for the gameplay. Same with Beladros. A Decree of Decree of Pain. We've got more expensive upgrades, so I've listed some more expensive upgrades you could add. So like Phyrexian Altar makes it so we can create green mana from our like from our squirrels and stuff. Coat of Arms makes it so all our squirrels just get all buffed up by the other squirrels that are there. Doubling Season or Parallel Lives, just token doubles are going to be crazy. Black Market Connections technically creates squirrels, but as well as gives us some token and card draw. Jahira turns all our tokens into mana dorks. Pitiless Plunderer, because we're going to be sacking and killing a lot of our squirrels here. That's going to be able to create treasures. And Grave Pack makes it so that whenever we kill them off, then we get to make other people have to sacrifice their stuff. So overall, that's kind of the way I went with the deck. You guys might agree with it, might not. Who knows? Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I hope you guys had a wonderful day, and goodbye.